Not to be confused with standoffish bacteria.
Emo bacteria.
Resting bitch face bacteria.
Yeah.
This is Ivy, and you're listening to
Slut Shame This.
Hello, and welcome to Slut Shame This. This is your host, Ivy LaBelle, and I'm here to help you with your sex life, your love life, and everything in between. And today we are going to be talking about
vaginas
and how to keep them their best. I have some hacks for you guys on how to keep them clean and happy and thriving. We've got some pre-care, some post-care, and this can be a great listen for owners of vaginas or friends of vaginas. All right, so I'm sure you guys have noticed we've reformatted the podcast and we're missing a big chunk of what you've learned to know as Slut Shame This, which is Gidget, my other half in this podcast. She has since moved on to working full-time in law, so she's out there killing it and still a friend to the podcast, a friend to me, but we are going to try to do this without her. So bear with us as we figure it out. We're going to have Lena on as a regular. Kevin and I are going to chat, and then we're going to have guests on as well, depending on the subject matter. And we plan to bring in some really fun and exciting guests for you guys. We're doing the dang thing. Gidget will be missed, but I hope that y'all stick around because I plan on bringing lots of fire your way, or, maybe some heat. Maybe not fire, but something warm, something gooey. I don't know. On that note, let's talk about vaginas. So if you've got one, then this episode is for you. And if you don't, then maybe you can acquire some sympathy for our struggles. As a sexually active woman, you will come across quite a few unpleasant things. And let's just destigmatize it now, because I'm super tired of people making it a slut-shamey thing if a girl gets an infection. Literally, you can get one from a penis. You can get one from your underwear riding up too much and not breathing. You can get it from a gross hot tub and chlorine fucking up your pH. Basically, your pH balance inside your vagina is what determines its health. And when it gets thrown off, infections occur. So a really common infection is a yeast infection. And that's an overgrowth of yeast. It usually manifests as itchy. Sometimes you'll get discharge that is cottage cheesy. It sucks. And for a lot of people, it can be a really common thing. I've dealt with it in the past, and I have found a way around it. And that is the almighty boric acid. Yes, guys, boric acid. It sounds like something you should never put near your body, especially not inside you. It cannot be orally ingested, but it can be put inside your vagina. So that I always found fascinating. But I've done my research and due diligence, and me and all my fellow porno girls utilize the boric acid trick because it's magic. Now, you can buy some products that are labeled boric acid, women's health, yada, yada, but they're usually going to be marked up in price. So here's the hack. You literally just buy the boric acid powder. You can get it off Amazon, wherever. And then you get some veggie caps that dissolve, what you would what a drug dealer would put like Molly in. Great reference. That's like the first thing I think of, not like vitamins. I'm like, it's the thing you put the Molly in. And those dissolve, and basically you use it as a suppository. So say you're feeling off, you feel that dreaded itch, things aren't feeling great. As a woman who's in touch with her body, I can tell the second something's off. But sometimes you don't find out until it's all happening and it sucks. So just put in the suppository, make it yourself. You'll save yourself so much money and you'll have it forever. Like one little bottle of powdered boric acid will last you a lifetime. So just put it up at night and make sure you wear like some thick underwear or perhaps like a little maxi pad. I just wear thick underwear. I don't care. I want my pussy to breathe. You want it to breathe and not be constricted when you're having an infection. So the next day, it kind of just comes out like water. And don't be alarmed by that. It's just normal, but I swear on my life, a couple of days of boric acid and your pH levels will go back to normal. If you're having a full infection, I would recommend doing it for like a week, like the suppositories, just to make sure. And then if you deal with yeast on a regular basis, you can use it as like a regular part of your life to help prevent it. Now, I wouldn't say like go use it every day, but you can use it like once a week, once every other week, just to kind of rebalance your pH. And it's honestly been a lifesaver.
Hey guys, Kevin here, man behind the podcast. Figured I would step out from behind the mixing board, and Ivy, I had a couple questions for you.
So boric acid, I mean, am I right in thinking this is like Fight Club kind of, like, do you have to wear like crazy gloves to deal
The
with?
first
Is it
thing
kinda
about
like,
Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
do you have to be careful about will it burn your skin?
No, I've gotten it on my skin before, and I actually have a funny anecdote. When I first started porn, I was in Vegas. I was doing 2 Brazzers shoots back to back. I was such a newbie. I was so nervous, and I packed some pre-made boric acid suppositories because I honestly a lot of the time will just do them prior to a scene because it makes your pussy kind of like odorless and tasteless, which is like not the preference for most personal life situations, but I think for people that I haven't worked with before, it's like a weird courtesy thing because I don't know their deal. Anyway, I digress. I packed this shit and I was so nervous, and I was walking around and I was gonna take my vitamins before bed, and I took the boric acid orally, which
Yeah. Were you like a Cujo, like foaming at the mouth? What happened?
I immediately like realized it, started having a full-on panic attack because I didn't know what was going to happen. So my mind was like already playing tricks on me. Like, oh, what's happening? So I'm like trying to throw up. I'm like trying to make myself throw up because I'm like, this could be the end of me. And like, instead of being a reasonable person and calling poison control, which is like what you should do because then they can give you advice, I went straight to urgent care and was like, I took boric acid orally. And they're like, ma'am, what? What is
you
that?
went straight to WebMD.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I was so irrational. I was like, we must go to the hospital.
God.
What if time is a ticking? What if I'm about to die? So
what happened? They were like, you're fine.
Yeah, they were like, you need to consume a lot more than a veggie cap of this white substance. But you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it has like the skull and crossbones on it, like on the bottle. But it's literally doctor recommended. If you Google anything about boric acid for the vagina, it's really common. And now a lot of companies make these gimmicky suppositories, women's health suppository, and it's like a bunch of inactive ingredients and then boric acid or like coconut oil. I'm like, you can shove all that up yourself. You don't need to buy this like 30-day supply for $30 when you could make it yourself. And that was actually suggested to me by an old OBGYN.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she was like having me go to the pharmacy to get like compounded boric acid. And I was like, this is so expensive. And she's like, all right, well, here's the deal. You can make your own. And I was like, it was such a game changer.
Do you have to have like a spoon to get it in there?
Yeah, I use a butter knife.
Oh, okay.
You know, like it looks like I'm doing drugs. It's really funny. Like I take the butter knife, it's this white powder, and I'm putting it into a capsule.
Oh, no.
And I figured like that's how my autobiographical movie will start, is like
Chopping up boric acid.
Yes, exactly. Like record scratch. I'm sure you're wondering how I got here.
Right. Yeah, like theme music.
But this isn't what you think. However, I did do a lot of the other stuff too. I'm just kidding. I'm not. Decide for yourself. Some people probably might take the precaution to wear gloves while they do it. I don't.
You've never had a problem with it, though.
I've never had a problem with it, but maybe, just to be on the safe side.
Don't touch your contacts after that.
Yeah, wash your hands with antibacterial soap after, but like you should anyway if you're, putting your fingers up your pussy. Just, if it's feeling infected, you would want to wash your hands after. And also, when I do that, I'll put a little coconut oil up there too, because the coconut oil is a natural antifungal. And a fungus is literally like what a yeast infection is. People can get yeast infections like on the skin. It's just an overgrowth of like the yeast fungus. So coconut oil is a great thing as well. So that's why I like it for lube, because it also has that nice smell and it has those natural antifungal and antibacterial properties.
Agree.
Mm-hmm. So that's my first suggestion for one of the dreaded infections, which is yeast. But boric acid also works for BV.
What exactly is BV and how do you get it?
So BV is bacterial vaginosis, and it's just an infection of the vagina. It's non-sexually transmitted, but it can be triggered by sex, but it's not considered an STI. It, again, is like an infection due to like your pH being off. So you can get it from literally all kinds of stuff. It's so horrible. Like the first time I got it, though, I went to Planned Parenthood because I didn't know it was up. And they're like, are you wiping front to back or back to front? And I was like, I'm a grown-ass woman. What? You think I like wipe shit onto my vagina and this is why I'm here? Like
Jeez.
So, but it, that's why I was saying like after anal, it's always good to like maybe throw a little tea tree douche up there because it can help prevent, or boric acid too. And then lots of water, just flushing out the body of any of that stuff. But, yeah, and it's curable by like oral antibiotics, or you can do like a gel that's like inserted at night through the vagina, but it can get a little messy. And with what I do for a living, that's not an option. So the first signs of it are usually like you don't smell like yourself. You smell off, and it has like a fishy odor. And for me, it starts getting painful, and I get like crampy. But basically, the main symptom is that fishy smell. And I knew immediately, I'm like, this isn't me. Something's happening. But also, again, get tested for STIs, because the first time I had it was reoccurring and I couldn't understand. Cut to my boyfriend had given me chlamydia. And so it was just like an added bonus, because like my body was like angry, and I'm sure my immune system was like fighting off the chlamydia. And then it's like,
Jeez.
Yeah, so it was like an added bonus, It's like chlamydia plus BV.
Fun combo.
Yeah.
The
and
combo platter.
Yeah, exactly. Can I get combo A? Combo B is with the yeast.
Oh,
and then
right.
combo
It's like a donut.
C is all of the above.
Nice.
Yeehaw.
The sampler.
Yeah, and then the best part is that antibiotics that cure BV can trigger yeast infection.
Jesus.
Having a vagina is rough, guys. It's this like delicate balance of like the bacterias and pHs. So another recommendation is, if you're ever on antibiotics, you can kind of do either like the apple cider vinegar douches, some coconut oil up there, or the boric acid to help prevent getting a yeast infection, because antibiotics often cause yeast infections in women because it just fucks everything up. And also taking a probiotic and a prebiotic every day really helps the vagina out immensely. On that note, there's a couple other options to help kind of maintain your vagina. So tea tree oil is awesome. It's a natural antibiotic and a healthy way to kind of clean out your vagina. Again, not to be done on a regular basis, or if you're feeling healthy. These are tips for when you're feeling off. But I feel like no one ever wants to talk about it because it's not sexy. It's very humanizing. You have to get up off the pedestal and be like, I'm having a pussy problem. And, now you can just refer your friends to this episode and we can just talk about it, because we're fucking human and our pussies are like wet, internal, mucusy things. And to think that they can't get infections and that you have to like be pristine constantly, and that if you're not, it's somehow your fault, then that's ridiculous. It's totally normal. I've gotten infections when I haven't even been sexually active. It's like I was eating too much sugar and bread. Literally, your diet can affect your vagina immensely. So also, I don't want to sidebar too much, but stay hydrated. Drink lots of water. Stay clear of sugars and carbs when you're feeling yeasty, because yeast, think about it, it's literally like what's in bread. So it feeds off of anything you're going to give it. So if you're giving it sugar and carbs, it's like, yay, friends, let's stay. You have to starve it out. So back to tea tree oil. That's something you want to be careful with, because you definitely don't want to burn your skin. It's very strong. When you get tea tree oil, it's usually just pure tea tree oil or possibly mixed with another oil. And if you put it directly even on your skin, it can kind of burn. So not like burn, but, very tingly. So my recommendation for that is like, say you did anal and you're scared that it gets a little messy sometimes and whatever, you want to make sure that you're not going to be at risk for an infection after that. Or again, you're just feeling off. Buy a regular douche from the store, from Amazon, wherever, and empty it of whatever's in it. You don't want to use that. Rinse it out. And then I use filtered water because, again, like the delicate pH. So you can either get bottled water or your Brita water, whatever. Fill it up all the way and literally just put like 3 or 4 drops of tea tree oil in your douche, shake it up, and just give yourself a little rinse around in there. I'm not going to explain how to use a douche because it's written on the box and we should all at least know that much. And if you don't, it's there. The information's like on the box of how to do it. Clean out what's in the actual douche. Don't use that. And make your own with some filtered water and tea tree oil. And that's a natural antibiotic. So if something's a brewing, sometimes that tea tree oil can knock it out before it even starts. It's never cured anything for me, but it's been a great preventative when I've felt nervous, especially like after an anal scene. Even if I don't go ass to pussy, which I don't every time, still, it's like the lube drips down. Things get places, even if it's not messy, even if there's no, visible sign of something going wrong. It's just always safe to kind of do that and prevent infection. Another hack is apple cider vinegar. We love apple cider vinegar. It's amazing for your pH levels as well, and there's several ways to use it. Obviously, a great way to maintain your general health, but it's also going to affect your vagina, is to take it orally. You can do it as a shot in the morning, or some people mix it with their water. I just choose to shoot it because I hate the way it tastes. It's like taking a shot of like alcohol and I like chase it with some kind of juice. But that's a great way to maintain a healthy pH with your body. But then again, we're talking about those times where things aren't feeling right. And a great way to also help your pH is to make a douche like you would with the tea tree oil, but instead do like a tablespoon or two of apple cider vinegar. It's not going to burn the same way tea tree oil would, where you can only use like 1 or 2 drops. You can use a little bit more of apple cider vinegar. So it's almost just like a really light, like cloudy mix. Like you don't want it to look like caramel colored, like that's too much. But that, and it feels really good, and it makes your pussy taste like candy. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's the apple. I don't know, but there's something about the after effects that makes you taste really sweet, which is nice. And you can also take a bath and put some capfuls of it in a bath if there's no other, you don't want to like, if you feel like you're having an infection, the last thing you want to do is get in a bath and put like soaps and bath bombs. And I feel like bath bombs are so bad for your pussy. It's like, unless it's from like a really organic, all natural oil situation, it's like you're just kind of bathing in chemicals that could upset the natural balance. But if you just like warm water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, that is a huge help as well.
So you were talking earlier about like, maybe doing anal or something, and like some of the lube, it gets messy or whatever. Do you have, we've talked about like the anal prep. Do you have like a post-anal routine, or maybe even more broadly, do you have like a post-sex routine that you do? Yeah,
I did an anal scene today. Everything was clean, everything was great, but they're pouring, like imagine you're in doggy and they're pouring lube all over you. It's getting around and inside your ass and it's dripping down onto your pussy. And so for me, that is like red alert to aftercare. So for me, I immediately drank like 2 bottles of water. Like I just want to start flushing everything out, because like the more you pee, it's also just better to like help prevent like a UTI, which can happen sometimes too. But then I will do the tea tree. I'll do the tea tree douche, and then because it really dries you out. Like you feel really dry after. So then I take some coconut oil, firmer the better, so you can kind of like shove it up there and let it dissolve. And I put coconut oil up there to like even things out. And then I just try to stay hydrated for the rest of the day. And obviously taking like a hot shower and scrubbing down. And my industry, we take extra precautions because we're on sets and we're with different people. So I use like Hibiclens, which is like a super sterile, like surgical grade, basically wash that shouldn't be used too often. So I try to just limit it, and it shouldn't be used on the genitals. Don't ever use Hibiclens on your genitals. That's just me trying to avoid shit like ringworm or some random rash that I can get from a couch. You never know. But that's not necessary if you're just having a nice time with your partner. It also just feels like nice to take care of your pussy, like acknowledging it, like, hey, here's a little tea tree love, and it's like a breath mint for your pussy. Like she feels all sparkly after. It's kind of nice. I don't know. I like it. And if there's any subjects that you particularly want to hear about, please tweet at us. Would love to hear. Also, feel free to email us as well, slutshamethis@gmail.com. We don't have an Instagram because it was deleted. We will figure out how to get back on Instagram, but I feel like the word slut is banned on Instagram. Like people can't even write that word. So I don't know. We're going to have to be super low key on there, which sucks because whatever. Thanks, Sesta Fosta. Revert back to that podcast if you have any questions about Sesta Fosta. All right, guys, it is the DM of the week. And all I have to say is the audacity I feel like the internet has just made people too ballsy to say some shit, because this random guy comes into my DM saying, come over, come play with my dick, babe, please. I got something special for you. I don't even know where to unpack this. Come play with my dick, babe, please. So he's begging, but then he's got something special for me. What could be so special?
Maybe it's cookies.
I've got cookies. What can you give me that I can't give myself that I would play with your dick? And I'm not an escort, so I'm not going to say money. Do these guys think when they send these that I'm going to respond and be like,
what something special do you have?
Is it your dick, baby, please?
I have a surprise for you. It's my dick.
It's my dick that I already asked you to please play with. It's super special, though, because it's my dick. It's my special dick.
It's his Dioc.
It's his motherfucking
Dioc.
Oh, yeah. I would maybe reply to someone if they sent me their best rendition, Paul Rudd, of the Wanderlust moment. If you guys haven't seen Wanderlust, it's so fucking funny. There's this monologue in the bathroom in the mirror by himself where he's trying to pump himself up to go have sex with this new person because he's been married for a long time and they're trying to swing and be open. So he's trying to hype himself up to fuck this new girl. It's an iconic monologue. It's so good. I feel like you can just Google Paul Rudd Wanderlust and it will pop up. But yeah, if someone DMs me or tweets at slutshamethis a really good rendition, I'll reply. I'll retweet it. So I know I mentioned previously that we want to have you guys be more interactive, whether that be a Q&A with me or sharing your own stories. So I want to see what I can collect more of, and we'll go from there. So on that note, I will be posting on my Instagram, what do you want to ask me? And you can ask your questions on there. I'll save them and answer them on the next individual episode that I do. I also want stories, though. I want to see if we can get a whole episode going where you guys share your stories, whether it's the awkward night at prom where you had a weird finger banging incident, or the time you got roadhead, or the time that someone broke your heart and how you dealt with it. I mean, it can be anything. How you function in this world as a high functioning depressed person, with how your sex life is, anything. Share it with me. If it's about modern love, sex, and relationships, I want to hear about it. And you can email slutshamethis@gmail.com for the stories, because you're going to need more than 160 characters, I would hope. Questions you can also tweet, but I would prefer if you would just reply to my Instagram posts. That would be the easiest. You can also email me, whatever. We're going to get this going. Okay, and now it's time for reviews. Guys, rating, reviewing, and subscribing to this podcast really helps us and determines the future success of this podcast. So please, if you're enjoying it, subscribe, give it a 5-star rating, and write a review and tell us how you're feeling about the podcast, because it really helps us. And we also love reading your reviews. And on that note, here is our latest review. This is from Chrissy the G. So glad this podcast is back. I felt lost without my new best friend, Ivy, and her diverse mix of guests, friends, fellow actors while they were on hiatus. A super relatable sex and love podcast that has me giggling, maybe even a snort laugh, and nodding along. I love the honest and frank glimpses into Ivy's work life, but I also love that this isn't solely a podcast about the adult industry. And I've learned so many tips and tricks. The anal and long distance relationship episodes honestly changed my life, and I apply things I've learned from them all the time. I also appreciate the silliness and vulnerability that Ivy brings to every conversation. You're a true unique gem, and I can't wait to see more of your obviously varied talents. One request, more Lena Paul. I love the natural chemistry and rapport you guys have. Every time she's on, it's honestly magic. What a fucking review. Wow. Oh my God. That like made my whole week. That was the sweetest thing ever. What? Yes. Thank you, Chrissy G. Love you, mean it. Thank you. I literally wanted to start this podcast for all the reasons you mentioned. So even if like it sounds corny, but even if one person like takes something away, it makes me smile. So yes, guys, keep writing in. Makes my fucking week, makes our week, because we put a lot of TLC into this podcast. So you will be hearing back from us 2 weeks from now. Again, a friendly reminder that we are every other week now. So we will be back 2 weeks from now with a brand new guest.